Did we get the order right on your cards? You guys just ran.
You don't know who we are?
No, I'm saying. No, you guys.
Who hired this guy?
I'm not even looking at the cards. I wasn't even sure. There you go. Okay, good.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, really? You can do better than that. Hola, ¿qué tal? All right, so I've got to ask a question. This is a question that has been sticking with me ever since the beginning of 24. Okay?
Aren't you supposed to be seated so we can see you facing us?
All right.
Like a...
It'll be like a Mike Wallace thing.
Oh, that's much better.
So.
We screwed it all up.
I'm not up on the screen, so that's fine. All right, so 24, hit show, obviously has its fans. But I'm just curious, when do you guys sleep? You know, when did you take your naps during each? It's because there was always a time when I was waiting for someone to say, I'm kind of tired right now, I'd like to take a nap. You know, if it's happening within a span of 24 hours, I've never seen you guys take naps. Why no naps?
I'll just take a nap right now. When the camera's on someone else,
That's a good one.
that's when you nap. And that's every actor, by the way. That's not just us.
That's so true.
It's interesting that 24 became the phenomenon that it was. It got to the point where you had the House of Representatives talking about the show when they were, you know, talking about.
Well, they had to do something.
What was it like when that would happen? What would you guys think when you'd see people like invoking the name of Jack Bauer? Like in politics?
Scary. Yeah. And both sides were fans of the show, like Republicans and Democrats. I didn't understand that.
What are they invoking now? The Walking Dead? Breaking Bad?
More meth labs. We need more meth labs. That'll bring the terrorists.
Context, folks, context.
So who did the warm-up? Who was doing the warm-up?
Ruben. Where's Ruben?
Is he here?
Where'd Ruben go?
There he is. Dude, good job. I was dancing backstage. That was good.
Ruben works on the Steve Harvey show. So he warms up the crowd at Steve Harvey.
Nicely done. Tough act to follow.
Yeah.
What have you guys been up to?
I'm trying to sell tickets to fill these reserved seats. So we didn't do a very good job. Reserved seats. But they're coming, I'm sure they're on their way. It's like Los Angeles, you know, you make reservations for a restaurant and then you get to wait for 40 minutes. So I don't know where that came from. Well, I'm from Chicago. They don't do that shit here. Any questions?
Tell me all your hopes and dreams.
How did you get this job?
I'm trying to avoid all the this. You know, you guys get asked the same questions over and over and over again. I'm trying to avoid those. Okay, letting you guys, you know.
That's a good idea.
We're taking questions from...
We are taking questions from the audience.
That was fast, man. You turned to the audience really fast.
I did, because... What have you been up to?
I'm just trying to let you guys have the show. This is about you. It's not about me.
I'm sorry. Your question was, what are we up to? Is that what?
Yeah. What are you guys up to right now? Outside of 24.
Louis, go ahead. You're up to a lot now.
Yeah, I just did Jersey Boys with Clint Eastwood and Christopher Walken. Runner, Ben Affleck, Justin Timberlake is out now on DVD. foods all from Italy, pastas, all that stuff, and
Wait, what is that? What is that? Pasta's what? What's the name?
Lombardi's food line.
Lombardi's food line.
Yeah, check it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, I love the thing that you told me about the pizza.
Oh yeah,
This is a great idea.
I got my own pizza ovens. They have own pizza tabletop ovens for your house, so you can make your own brick oven pizzas in your house on a tabletop. It's kind of like a foreman grill, but pizza ovens.
Okay, just don't name all your children Louis.
I already did. And the bad part is they're all girls. Louise.
That's a great idea, though, isn't it?
Yeah, so I hope we can cook for everybody in the country and around the world, and bring families back to the dinner table. That's the motto of my company. Thank you. I want families to be able to sit down and communicate with their kids again, like we used to do in days past. These days, it's like, here's a fast food, here's a video game, leave me alone, I worked all day, Sit down, talk to your kids, make a dinner, and maybe they won't be so messed up.
I recently started as Mr. Lombardi's press rep. I'll be promoting his pizza oven.
Just don't name all your kids Louis.
Let's see, what have I been up to? I've been making some music. I've been making some music, and you can read all about it on my website, which is www.jpmorrison.com. It's all there for you to listen to if you want to. Great musicians have been playing with me and pushing me toward that, because you can't die with the music in you.
Well, you can, but that's not good.
But you don't want to. So I encourage you to let the music out. That's what I would say to you. Haven't been doing much acting. I don't think too highly of the profession. So I've been trying to avoid that.
You must elaborate on
I'm
it.
going to reject them before they can reject me. I don't recommend that. No, it's a good life. It's a good time to be alive. But I want to take this opportunity to thank the fans of the show, because you're half the equation, and we wouldn't, what we have done, what we enjoy doing so much wouldn't exist without you. So.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have no cause. Louis got his cause. James has his cause. I don't have a cause. What was it? I tell you, I've been working on writing and directing, and that's
The thing that you told me. You can't tell me. You can't say. The thing that.
can't tell.
Okay, never mind.
Can't tell.
But it's going to come out soon, and you'll go, wow, that James. He was actually the press rep for both those guys. I'm trying to get him to.
Listen, here's the thing: is I think very highly of the acting profession. It just doesn't think highly of me. So that's really where I've been putting my focus is writing and directing, and acting.
What's the name of your film?
Your Father's Daughter.
Your Father's Daughter is an excellent first film.
Yes, I wrote and directed my first film.
And who showed it?
It's at the Beverly Hills Film Festival as we speak.
Really?
It's not that exciting.
The DP?
The DP was our our A camera operator on 24. In fact, most of my crew was the 24 crew. They all came and did me the favor of working for almost nothing to help me get it made. And as a result, he actually won a cinematographer's award for it. Yeah.
Guy Skinner.
Guy Skinner.
The handheld camera operator on 24.
Yeah.
Who was like another character in the show. I'm sure you see that. I mean, he really was. He was
Absolutely.
in every scene with us, right here. You know, he was blocked into the scene, and we regarded him every bit as highly as any character we were talking
No,
to.
absolutely. The look of 24 had so much to do with the crew that are working on it, and Guy was right up there at the top of why it looked the way it looked, and why it had the sort of emotional weight that it had was because a lot because of the camera work of Guy. So that's what I've been up to. I'm starting a blog, which I'm launching the day of May 5th, the day of the show starts. I'm excited about that. I'm writing about sort of the creative process and life in the arts, and that's it. That's it. I'm trying to raise my daughter. You know?
Now, there's been a lot going on with not only traditional media, but new media. You talk about producing your own film, directing your own film. Just recently, Zach Braff had his Garden State sequel financed through Kickstarter. Joss Whedon just released his latest film on Vimeo. So we're seeing a whole lot of new outlets as far as releasing film, media, television shows. Have you guys looked in those areas? Have you been approached about doing things for, let's say, the web?
Well, I've written, directed, and starred and produced 2 films already. I'm actually doing a Kickstarter program now for my next film to direct. So
What's it called?
it's called Buddies. It's like a comedy drama, kind of like a true romance kind of feel of a movie, you know, but kind of a comedy, buddy comedy.
And you're in the middle of the Kickstarter now?
Yeah, we're about to launch now.
And what kind of a budget are you looking at?
Like 500,000-600,000. We have a lot of great actors that are already starting to come on. You know, I've been very lucky. You know, my first film, I had a lot of great actors in that film. You know, and I shot it all in my neighborhood in the Bronx. I grew up in the Bronx. So, like Carlos, I want to go more into writing and directing. You know, starring in them is hard when you're writing and directing them. So the next one, I don't know if I'm going to star in. I wrote it. I'm going to direct it and produce it. So that's more where I'm going now. And Kickstarter is actually a great outlet for people to try, you know? I mean, you have nothing to lose, you know? It's like, take a shot, you never know.
You know, that's interesting you should say that, because I have a friend who, I'll tell you this before I tell you, because I love acting so much. I have been doing a little acting on this web, you know, this web things.
A friend wanted to be a little bit more specific.
I'll tell you in a second. A friend of mine was a contributor to the making of, an investor in the making of Buffy, the Buffy movie. Is that what it was? The Buffy, yeah?
There was
Just recently, but they raised the money online, and she felt like she was then a part of this, you know, it was an emotional connection she had to the project, and I think that's important to speak to what you were talking about. People have the opportunity to then become collaborators and feel like they're part of the family, and you know, filmmakers need help to finance their projects. The thing that I'm doing is called Blue. It's Julia Stiles thing. It's on Hulu now, but it was on YouTube. Blue on Wigs, I think it's called. They do women's, mostly women's things. Yeah, this is a great, actually a great series. Rodrigo Garcia and John Abnett produced it. Rodrigo directed it. So I have been doing some acting. I lied.
Well, just think about it. You're fans of 24, you're fans of many other shows, correct? Could you imagine being a part of the process of having it get made because you donated $25, $50, and you get something and you're like, wow, I helped make that film. You know, so that's kind of the audience participation to the artist. You know, it's like everyone's going to collaborate. You know, and I believe with so many fans of the actors and the projects that it's up to you guys to make it really happen, right? That's why we're here now for 24. You know, you guys made it happen, because if you guys didn't watch, we would be off the air after the first episode. So you guys are as much as a part of the entertainment process as we are. You watch, we make it. It's all the same thing, you know. It's not any different being a fan. It's even more important, because that's what makes it go.
When you do your Kickstarter, you have like the rewards for the different, you know, levels.
Yeah, I come to your house and hang out with you and watch football for a month. and then you get to pay my bookie. It all works out. I call it Kickstarter. My bookie calls it owing the money. No, really.
I was gonna say just make one a pizza oven. You know,
That's right.
Oh, shoot, they don't steal my idea.
Gold medal pizza, Louis.
I'm actually going for pizza tonight at Lombardi's. Everyone keeps talking about it. Like, calm down, I'm from the Bronx. I'll tell you how good it is. Don't get started out here. I know a lot of people have fights with the Chicago, New York pizza. But actually, I'm from the Bronx and I love Chicago. This is my third time being here. You know, I love the people, I love the food, the whole city is great. I actually did my first film here, 94, Natural Born Killers. And I was here for 4 months. And it was great. We shot in Statesville Prison. We went every place. I mean, I loved it. And you know what? Every time I come back, it just absolutely feels like I grew up here. You know, the people, the food, the art, well, just everything. The whole culture of it is beautiful. I love it.
Who's your hockey team, Louis?
I don't like hockey. I don't like baseball either. I don't like Yankees. I don't think I'm being like, hey, I'm a New York Giants fan. The best thing about my hotel room here is I look out my window. Soldier Field is right in front of my window. And I took a picture, and my friends were like, oh shit, you're in front of Soldier Field. I was like, Prince, I didn't get it because it was all new with the glass and stuff. And I'm thinking of this old thing, and I'm like, wow. You know, people on Twitter are like, wow, you're like looking out and watching Soldier Field. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna take like 10 more pictures. That's my story.
You guys have to have some interesting anecdotes from the show. Something that we might not have heard before. Maybe might show up in a tell-all one day.
I know what I'd love to hear. One of the best, it's the best. It's the best.
Well, you gotta get me heads. We'll talk about it.
Well, they're whispering, I'll entertain you all.
I can tell that, but I don't know if we have time. How much time do we have?
Yeah.
All right, so in season 4, was that when the Mandy character kidnapped me?
Yeah.
I think it was right. Season 4, is that right? Season 4, we were getting towards the end of the season, and you know, shooting the show. By the time we get towards the last episodes, it's such a grind that people are really worn down. They're tired. They're in bad moods. They're cranky, you know. And our main director, John Cassar, is like the most positive person you've ever met in your life. He's like a little kid. He's always excited, always. And we actually show up. We're shooting in this garage up in Valencia, California, in like basically the fucking desert. It's way out, and it's a full day of scenes of Kiefer, myself, and what's her name? Mia Kirshner, who played Mandy. And everybody's in a bad mood. So we get to this parking garage where we're shooting, and we get to our trailers, and Mia Kirshner, I get to my trailer, and she walks up, she goes, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hey, what's up? She goes, good. I'm feeling kind of mischievous. And I was like, really? I go, do you want to play a joke on Cassar, John Cassar? She's like, yeah, sure. So I called the police. I have off-duty police that guard the set. And I called them over and I said, hey, would you want to play a practical joke on our director? And he goes, yeah, sure. I'm like, great, what time are you off at? He goes, about 5 o'clock. I'm like, great. Well, at 5:15, could you come into the garage where we're shooting and arrest her for buying pot? And he goes, yeah, sure. Hey, listen, by the way, when we arrest people, they always admit they did it right away. So just have her admit it. I'm like, okay, that's great. She goes, okay, I'll do that. So, you know, we're in the middle of the day. Again, every scene is Kiefer, Mia, and me. No other cast members are there. We're in the middle of nowhere. So, 5:15 rolls around, and on cue, this guy and his partner walk into the garage, and the whole crew starts murmuring, and somebody runs up to Cassar. It's like, there's cops on the set. Cops are here. And the cops go straight up to Mia, and they start questioning her. and all the producers are like huddled around. Then some producers are getting on the phone, calling back to the studio, and they're like, and John comes up and goes, "Can I help you, officer?" And they're like, "Yes. This young lady just confessed to buying marijuana from my partner out in the parking lot, placing her under arrest." And the whole place is like, "What? No, you can't do that." And she's like, "Yeah, I did it." And she's like, "No." And they're like, "Shut up, no, shut up." Oh, and I forgot one part. I told the guy to arrest her, and then that I was gonna start yelling at him, and then to have him arrest me too. So they're questioning her, and I go, "Are you fucking kidding me? Is this what we're paying our tax dollars for, so you can come arrest little girls for buying pot in the parking lot?" And he's like, "Sir, one more word and you're under arrest." I'm like, "Fuck you, this is bullshit." He's just like, "Shut up, shut up!" Because literally this is hundreds of thousands of dollars going down the drain if they arrest us, because that's the whole day of shooting. And I'm like, "No, fuck you, this is bullshit. This is bullshit." And John starts to grab me, he's pulling me back, he's like, "Shut up, you're messing this whole thing up, shut up, you know?" And I look at Kiefer, I'm like, "How come you're not saying anything?" He goes, "Hey man, I'm on parole." So I'm like, "Likely story." And, you know, meanwhile, mild mannered John Bauer from Canada is like shoving me back, so I'm shut the fuck up, man, you know. So I like get my camera out and I click a picture of him, and he's like, "You motherfucker." That was that. But everybody was
Now they let the kids in now after the profanity is over.
Oh yeah, can we swear in this? By the way, is this okay? Do we have kids in the audience? No. Okay, good. Or lesson number one. But you know, everybody was in a good mood after that, so it worked out.
This is the cable version of 24.
It's funny that you bring that up, but why hasn't that sort of avenue kind of been explored, you think?
You know, Fox owns it. Sorry.
No, that's a good point. Though Fox does produce stuff for cable, they have stuff that, you know, I think, because Jack Bauer's been gone for a while. And,
Yeah, you know, they're re-releasing the show now,
right,
for a reason, because Fox, it's definitely it's one of Fox's treasures, you know, so they're not going to let anybody else do it.
So when you guys heard the show was coming back, were you like waiting, going, "Hey, flashback, you know, oh, anybody? No?"
No. I'm still smoking on the gas. I'm fine. Didn't they resurrect you at the end? Again?
I'm in prison, yeah.
But didn't you die once and then came back and lived?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
A couple times, I
It's
did.
like the Energizer Bunny.
A couple times.
A couple of times.
I just blackmailed the writers.
You know, an actor's life, a play is over, you go to the next thing, the job is over, you go to the next thing, you get killed on 24, you go to the next thing. It's just part of the deal.
It's genre television. I know a lot of times too, you'll see a lot of actors, they'll be on one show, you develop a following, you end up on another show of a similar genre, science fiction.
I was on Sopranos for a long time, and that's how I got 24. The executive producer had seen me on Sopranos, and Joe Serno put me on 24. So it's kind of like every one of these shows, without the killing of a great character, people, you know, are not going to go, "Oh, it won't be a shock, it won't be the same." You know, so there's a lot of love kept on Sopranos. They killed, you know, Big Pussy, and people were devastated with that. You know, and it was like, "Whoa, you know."
Dude, don't swear here.
You know, but by the same time, I get you, and that's a valid point. What bothers me though as a viewer is that you get to know these guys, and that's a good example because, I mean, the reason you go to watch those shows is so you can, you know, find the characters that you like to follow, and when they kill them, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't like it.
bummed when I died.
I was bummed when he died.
Everybody want to have a group hug? Come on
I
stage.
think we should. I think that's what this is all about.
No, but he's right. You know, you get so attached to these characters, and you want to tune in and watch it. What happens is that character is so in your mind that when another character comes and fulfills, like on Sopranos, I'll just use that as an example instead of us. You know, people go, they actually don't enjoy, or not like, but don't enjoy that character as much as like I'll give like Big Pussy's the biggest example. He's still the biggest star from that show, besides Jimmy. And he hasn't been on the show since the second season. You know, and they went 7 seasons, and you know, everywhere he goes, people just go mayhem for him. And they loved him, and the guy who replaced him was Steve Sharippa, who doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And not that he's not a good actor, but it was kind of like
Steve's in the 10th row.
sorry, Steve. He's a big dude. I don't want to get beat up by that guy. Let's get back to 24. But like James was saying, the characters, people really like them, and when they start to follow them, when they miss them, they kind of lose a little faith in the show, I believe.
Well, because you know, you follow. Listen, Kiefer's wonderful in the part, and at this point now, anybody else can. But you can. You gotta surround this guy who will stick his hand inside someone to get a microchip thing with people that you can fall in love with. Otherwise, what's come on, because he can only take you so far with ripping veins out of his teeth. Am I right? It's the same with The Sopranos. I mean, this guy's he's a criminal.
Yeah.
And so, you gotta find people who, I wish, I'm a studio people and the writers would understand that the sensational part is not killing people that the audience loves. It's actually letting them stay there so they can love them.
Do you guys feel that way? That's an easy question. Who doesn't feel that way?
Because I get killed in everything I'm in. That's why
Some people like it.
But I was on Entourage too, and also no one gets killed on that show. I'm like, okay, I did an episode of this, did an episode, just keep dragging it along, It's like a happy-go-lucky show.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they should. Yeah, I think I did because I didn't go back after that. These shows, people really, watch them for the characters more than the premise, I believe, People want to feel like they know you, because like our fans that you guys are here, some of you guys are so, you guys have so much stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I cried, I did this. And it's like, wow, you feel like like you're part of our lives in a way, correct? You guys feel the same way. So when you're missing and you're not there, it's like, oh, it's kind of, I would see as a fan, it's almost hard to adapt to another character and keep it rolling with that kind of, momentum.
What do you think is a secret to having, besides the writing, creating that kind of character that you feel people will get attached to?
Personality.
it's hard to say. There are so many variables, the chemistry between people, whether or not the writers identify with the actor, what the possibilities are story-wise. How many presents you buy the writers, buy them gifts, and it's dependent upon a lot of things. What the audience reacts to. Look at Mary Lynn's a good example. It's Chloe. At first, it took her a while to catch on, but when we finally did, we love her. We can't see the show without her. So who knows? She started to catch on to as the actress to the role too. There's a whole list of things that can happen, or not.
What about social media? You talked about your Kickstarter for your films, and some of you are involved in social media at different levels. How do you feel social media goes into kind of developing your relationship with the audience and getting people?
I think look at Twitter is a pretty amazing thing, you get questions every day from hundreds of people about different things.
And where can we find you on Twitter?
Sorry?
Where can we find you on Twitter?
Oh, I'm not on Twitter, but
You're not on Twitter?
no, it's oh God, it's at C2E2. Bernard, like C is my first initial, my first name, C. Bernard, C. Bernard, it's not complicated at all. C. Bernard's bull. Somebody grabbed Carlos Bernard before I could get to it. So, it's C. Bernard's bull. Or you go to my blog, Carlos Bernard's blog, it's probably easier. But, I don't know, I think it's really interesting. I never thought I would get into Twitter. I'm not somebody who tweets, you know, wow, I just had a great latte. You know, it's not, I don't post very often. But I will read it every day. I will check messages from people every day. And it's a great, I think it's a great way to sort of be in touch with fans, definitely. Fans were incredibly supportive of me helping make my film and then get the word out about it and all that stuff. Very, very supportive in that way. They've been like, it's been an onslaught trying to get my character back on the new show, too. And myself, and I know all the writers have gotten slammed. So, it's an interesting way for people, rather than, it used to be fan letters. You used to get bags of fan letters. And now it's so easy, it comes right to your iPad. It's great, you know.
It's very much like this. It's like, you know, a way to communicate with each other.
Yeah, I love Twitter, I love Instagram, Facebook. I talk there, I respond to everything. Every comment, everything. I just love doing it. I think that's part of keeping you know, the bond with your fans, your family, your friends, it's everything. It becomes one whole family kind of thing, you know. Hey, what's going on? Thanks, I love you. Hey, you know, you start talking, and you know, and it's just a great way to keep on talking and, you know, having a real true fan base that becomes a family.
I think it's also, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that James and I, every once in a while, will go at each other on Twitter, just messing with each other. And
You might be missing.
so we really get, you know, at each other. No, but it's you know, which also provides a chance for us to sort of communicate with each other, but also, you know, we get a sense of what the person's really like, I think, more for fans, anyhow, what our sense of humor is,
Yeah.
how we go at it, you know, I mean,
It's also nice to know, it's a way to communicate what we're up to now, very much like this. You know, Carlos wants to write and direct, I'm making music, so we keep, you know, it's I guess, for lack of a better, in a crafts way, I guess. It's a marketing tool, just like anything else. It's a way to communicate what you're doing with the public.
But it is you on your Twitters. It's not like a PR person doing it.
Oh, no.
It's my super agent.
yeah.
It's my mom. Oh, Mom! No, so I'm at Louis Lombardi, so you can hit me up, talk to me, I'll talk to you all day. I got nothing else to do. The Jersey Boys comes out, I won't respond.
I'm going to have a Twitter. I probably alienated more people than I've actually ingratiated to me myself.
Yes, you have.
I speak my mind.
It's funny you should bring that up, because recently on Twitter there have been certain actors from other shows expressing very strong political views.
I saw Justin Bieber's last tweet.
Should Bieber be deported?
The Biebs.
So
I don't even know how.
We're not talking about Justin Bieber.
All right.
It's a joke.
It's not happening.
I think I know what you're getting at. I can address that.
Yeah, could you?
I think it's really hard for us and for myself included, to separate the actor from the role, no matter what we do. And also, at the same time, if we have our own personal beliefs or challenge or question, especially if it's by somebody that we admire, we suddenly have to shift gears and go, wait a minute, this is a real person. It's different than the character I saw. I can't accept this. It's cognitive dissonance is what it's called. You can't hold two opposing thoughts in your head at the same time. And we all are guilty of it, afflicted with it in our own way from time to time. I know I have been. And I think the challenge then is to go, you know what, this is not a way, this is a way for me to actually see if I can separate myself from A, what I believe in, or B, what I perceive this person is, long enough to see what it is I'm seeing, or see it for what it is. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But then you'll have the counter argument to that, saying that if someone has a belief that's opposed to mine and I support them financially, I'm kind of giving them money to say what they're saying counter to my own personal belief.
But no, but that's where I think we make the mistake. We go, first we have to look at the material, and we go, gee, is it an idea that is opposing mine, or is it just this guy and his ideas apart from the product that I find fault with? Because he may not, she may not be doing something political. It just may be art. You see, that's where we have to separate the artist from the thing, from the art that they're doing. So it may not be that they're doing something controversial at all, or even political. It might just be a storytelling.
We have your reserved seats right up here. They're right here.
Ash is like looking at you and going, what? By the way, if we do, I was joking, we do have a microphone right here. If you would like to ask the cast a question, please feel free to come on up, come on down here, and get those questions you've always wanted to ask, because we are actually running out of time now. So.
Yeah, come on. All right, let's go. Bum Rusher. Come on up.
What's up, guys? All right. I wanted to say Low 24, it's no question, just a comment. Low 24 was a great show. Sopranos 2 was awesome. And, the show was just ahead of its time, and I'm glad it's coming back. I'm a big fan of it, so my brothers, my friends, we all watched it.
We want to get to the guy behind you, so keep moving.
He can wait. And Carlos is for you, go Cubbies.
Thank you, man.
What's that, his dog's name?
Okay, I have a very, very serious question.
Oh, jeez.
No, yeah, sometimes get ready to think. If you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be and why?
I would be pork. I'd be pork ice cream. Because of the salty, sweet combination.
Where's the sweet? What's sweet about pork?
No, salty, man, salty. And then, ice cream would be sweet. You have to explain this to me? I have to explain pork ice cream? Sorry.
Did you just step off the set of Sex and the City? No, what? Sorry, never mind. Oh, is that? Oh, answer. Sorry. Okay, Rocky Road.
Rum raisin because I'm a drunk. All right, thanks for that comment. Hi. You can step up.
Okay, I was wondering if you liked how each of your characters' story ended, and if you didn't like it, like if you wanted them to live or something.
I hated it. I was foaming at the mouth after I hit my head. What show are you watching?
I think James answered your question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mine's not over yet, so
Yeah,
relax.
Hi guys, I'm a big fan. In respect to the way your characters died, everyone did die, even Tony-ish, and then he came back. But when did you guys find out your characters were going to die? How much prep was there? And what was it like on set to know your days were numbered?
I found out the day I signed my contract.
Yeah, I would say that I found out in the second episode of the first season, they killed a guy named Richard Walsh, who was this amazing actor, Michael O'Neill. And they killed him in the second episode, and I was like, this is not gonna last.
You know you're dead the minute you start.
I'm gonna start looking for another job right now.
It's like, say you're gonna be invited to go bowling with Jack Bauer. You know you're gonna die. I'm gonna die at the bowling alley.
Is that a tattoo on your face?
No, it's just,
I thought you were hanging out with Mike Tyson. I'm like, what's this guy got on his face?
This is what happens. You want me to explain it to you? This is what happens. And by the way, I've been fired on more than one show, so I know how this goes. You get a call from the producers at your house. Never a good sign. Never a good sign. I did a show back in 1998 called Young and the Restless and Soap, right? And I was dirt freaking poor when I got that job. I was so penniless. So I was really thrilled because it was like everyday work. It was awesome, right? However, I had my own interpretation of how the character was going to go. After 10 months, I got a call, and the producer, and at that time I'm like, oh, the producer's calling me, how cool. And he goes, hey, so how you doing? I'm like, great, how you doing? He goes, great. Listen, tomorrow's your last day. And that's generally how it goes. I mean, they just, it's business, and they call, and, look at the writers of 24, we're all such a close family, literally. I mean, they're great friends, the writers. So it's a little bit more emotional, definitely, when that's made from a producer to an actor. I've heard everybody's story about how they got the call, and it's never easy for the producer.
There's so many variables, just like whether or not you last on the show, that are out of their hands, out of everybody's hands. It's a combination of things that has nothing to do with you. But it's part of it's in the job description. So and you're just waiting for the call. And,
waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Yeah. You read the script, going, am I still in this thing?
when Edgar died, all of my friends would stop in the hallways and go, Chloe, and then we were all heartbroken.
I still say that when I look in the bathroom mirror. Chloe. As I'm brushing my teeth, I reenact that every single night, every morning.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I do remember, I'll tell you this though, I remember the first season, everybody would grab a script right away to find out if they were in the next episode. If the episode ended and they were still alive. I mean, literally. And then everybody was like, well, fuck it. It's just, see what happens.
Hey, how's it going? I was just going to ask you, what was your favorite season and who'd you enjoy most working with?
I enjoyed working with Carlos and Louis the most.
Such a kiss. Favorite season? Oh, he said favorite season.
Oh, favorite season was whenever I worked with them.
Louis?
Well, I just think I like the fourth season, and I like the whole cast. I like everyone. I have, everybody's a great cast, great people working with, fun, all great actors. When you watch a show, the intensity of that show it's unbelievable, and everybody's so fun as you can tell, off and on, and so just everybody, I liked everyone actually.
That's a good point. It's, as you see, we're pretty comfortable with each other. We're cut up, and a show like that, you have to have that energy when you're not shooting, because otherwise it becomes truly oppressive. Imagine if it wasn't fun. When at the times that weren't between action and cut, it would be a pretty dreadful place to work. So yeah, we had a lot of fun.
But there are shows like that, man. We were very fortunate. It was literally everybody, including the crew, loved each other and went out and partied together. And like every award show, we'd be the last people still drinking and hanging out, and everybody together. I mean, it was just like that kind of energy.
Wasn't there from the first episode to the last one, like the highest percentage of cast and crew that
yeah, there was no turnover.
There were hardly. I mean, a couple of guys went. There were moments, but it was from 8 seasons. It was pretty much the same crew, and it was truly a family.
Yeah.
Had that feel when we were working.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine, you know what? I have 2 favorites. For me personally, season 7 was the most fun to work on for me. But at the same time, season 1 was amazing because it was this discovery of this new thing, and we were shaping it and figuring out what it was, and it was turning into this thing, you know, that we were all sort of just discovering, you know. So the season 1 was a lot of fun, but season 7 was, I think, my favorite to act.
Yeah, I started off with season 2 and the hacksaw that what's got me.
The hacksaw got you?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you come get me?
Sergio.
What's going on, guys? How are you? Good, man. How are you doing? Fantastic. Great. Oh, now we're going to make fun of my voice. Not at all. Great. It's born with it. So was I. Fantastic. I guess, first question, do you still have the Cubs mug?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Maybe your great appearance this year?
I cannot say.
Excellent. How far in advance, and I know you guys are saying you kind of go script, I guess you go script to script. Do you know if there's going to be one of those crazy plot twists, kind of in advance? Like Nina, for example, in season 1, does she know the whole season that, spoiler alert, in the end, she's making that turn, or is she kind of acting week to week to week reading the script?
No, you don't know. Don't. You really don't. She didn't know. She found out literally the episode before it happened, you know. You know, and their writers are literally writing. They'll have ideas charted out, but, you know, if you've ever written a script, you can outline a script, but it's going to go, and it's going to go the way it takes you in the direction that it just happens to go, right? Even if you have it outlined. So if you can imagine on that show, there's a lot of sort of wording of what's going to happen, but things like that just sort of appear out of sometimes need, or sometimes, hey, wouldn't this be cool? This is one thing we can't do, which they did a lot of on that show. It was like, what is the one thing we cannot do? And then they try to do it, you know. So yeah, that's a credit to her as an actress, because then she did that turn and put on that whole sort of language change. She's fantastic. So, I mean, she was great.
You know, another great one too was Greg Itson didn't know he was going to end up being the bad guy that he wanted. He didn't know that all that stuff was going on, and when he found out, he was as surprised as anybody was.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
And let me just tell you, I'm just jealous of your voice. That's all.
Appreciate that.
Oh, let me just say one thing. Get back here. Howard Gordon caught me in the hallway once, and this goes back to when you are thinking, oh, you know, am I going to be killed? And he caught me in the hallway and he said, oh, by the way, we're going to take you out of C2E2 and send you home. That doesn't mean we're going to kill you. But he made sure that I knew that wasn't happening. When we went to my house, when Chloe and I went to my house. So that was, I mean, this was like 2 episodes later. It's just so you know it's coming. He didn't want me to think, oh my God, they're going to kill me, and I'm going to hold it that way.
Awesome. They would do that, it is true. They would give you a warning of something.
Yeah.
Sort of
just so you wouldn't freak out. And then again, other times they would say, hey, I read 19, and man, you had a great death.
I had no warning. It was like, hey, Louie, guess what? You're dead. A week later, I was dead.
And really one of the most emotional deaths in television I've seen.
Oh, man, thank you.
Oh, you meant him.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I had 2 questions. The first one's for Carlos.
Okay, now I feel like I have to make fun of your voice to make him feel better.
Very nice.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding. It wasn't even accurate. It wasn't even a good imitation.
You want to try again?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you were a good guy for the majority of the show up until about season 7 where you started it.
And now you say I'm an asshole. Now you see I'm an asshole.
I didn't say it. I was going to say, what did you enjoy doing more? Do you enjoy acting more as a bad guy, kind of? Or did you like being on being good?
Honestly, I never considered him a bad guy. You know, he had his reasons, he had his motives. I was on his side. I saw what he saw, and I never thought he was a bad guy. And And I think what's fun about it is the complexity of what's going on in his life. The great thing about acting on that show is that, and a lot of shows now, because that, part of the reason we didn't think the show was going to be successful was because each episode didn't wrap up. It was a continuing storyline, and at that time, when it came out, that really didn't exist much on TV, and that was a big strike against it. But one of the great things about it is that, and now you see all these actors wanting to do TV because there are these storylines that continue on, so that you get to pile on the baggage of those characters, everything that happens, you carry the scars with you from season to season, so that the deeper you get into the series, the more fun it is to play because there's just all this stuff, So, that's part of the reason why that season was a lot of fun to play.
And I was going to ask each of you, who was your favorite president on the show? Because some were really frustrating and some you liked. I was going to ask, which one was your
Jimmy Carter.
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm afraid I can't give you an answer. I'm afraid there's no answer for the question you've asked.
Well, there is an answer.
That's Samuel Beckett. That's a Samuel Beckett quote, by the way. I can't take credit for that. I'm afraid there's no answer for the question you've asked. But it's a good question.
Who's the first president?
President Palmer?
President Palmer, yes. Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because I got to make fun of his voice.
Impersonation right now?
Oh, Steve, good hands, well, Steve.
Thank you.
By the way, I love Dennis, don't get me wrong, I love Dennis. Dennis is awesome. All right?
Thanks so
Tweet that.
Okay, buddy, I'm afraid you're gonna have to be the last question.
Are we good, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, the episode for me that cemented that Jack was a vamp was when he had to cut the drug dealer's head off to get in with the drug dealers. What episode for you?
That's the hacksaw gun, isn't it?
Yes. What episode for you, in your mind, made Jack a vamp?
What?
Yeah, what is that? Airline? What is that?
There might be children.
Badass mofo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I can answer that. When I got the call to audition, I'd never seen the show. And so I had a couple of days. I sent my family on vacation and I stayed behind to audition for this show that not even, big deal. So I watched the episode where Jack killed on the railroad tracks. What's that cat's name?
Oh, Chappelle.
Yeah. And that was what they sent us for the SAG Awards that year, I think. So I watched that one the night before my audition. And I said, man, these guys will do anything. This character will do anything. And I have to be on the show. And so I just studied my lines like a good little actor, and I went in the next day. But that's the one where, I don't know, maybe that was the turning point for everybody. That was a pretty amazing moment.
Yeah. I think for me, it's when he dove into the Christmas tree. Oh, wait a second.
What was the question? I forgot. You guys are too funny. I'm like,
Jack's biggest vamp moment on the show.
Wow, just way too many. Oh, you're waiting for an answer? I'm sorry. Way too many.
You know what I think is amazing is that I didn't know what a band was, and I've been one my whole life!
Help me make my movie on Kickstarter. Hit my website, lewislombardi.com. Go to my Twitter. Help me out. You guys can be a part of the movie. There'll be a lot of great actors in it. And again, you can come on board.
Let's give them a big hand.